can't believe I'm saying this, but Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Scamelot, is selling matches?
Meghan Markle's obnoxious hypocrisy has just been exposed as she tells Prince Harry, finally, get a job. Do you remember that old song, get a haircut, get a job? I guess for Harry it might be get a hair transplant and get a job. I'm almost speechless.
Oh man, it's so funny, Dan. It's so funny.
On May 28th, 3 simple words appeared on the brand's social media page, arriving tomorrow. It seemed like a small teaser, nothing more than a hint of what was coming next. Then the following morning, the mystery was revealed. A box of matches. Yes, matches were the latest product linked to Meghan's lifestyle brand, as ever. But here's where things started getting people talking. The matches were designed to light the brand's candles, yet several customers had already claimed their candles arrived without wicks at all.
She's selling match sticks. Okay, she's not doing a clothing line, she's not doing homeware. She is going to sell matches. Apparently these are luxury matches.
It's the kind of situation that almost sounds made up. The company presented them as limited edition matches, as if people were rushing to get their hands on something incredibly rare. But many online couldn't help pointing out that matches are hardly a luxury item. They're the sort of thing most people can find at a local shop for next to nothing. There was another catch too. The matches weren't even sold on their own. They were included free inside selected candle bundles.
There are no $100 candles on my site. That's so obnoxious. I just want things that you can have. And so I want people who really understand that ethos and enjoy sort of the fun and frivolity of it all.
Oh yes, you're finally realizing what we think about you, Meghan. Totally obnoxious.
The most expensive option, the Signature Scent Collection, comes with 4 candles and the complimentary matches carrying a price tag of $256, which works out to around £190. That's a hefty price for candles and a box of matches. Then came the promotional photo, and that sparked a whole new round of reactions. This wasn't some accidental snapshot. It was an image that had been approved, selected, and published by the brand itself. The photo showed a candle burned deep down the center, creating a noticeable tunnel effect, while a single used match rested on top of a box filled with fresh, unused matches.
Of course, that was the year 2016 that she started dating Prince Harry. 10 years on, her critics pointed out that she is currently selling her own scented candle set for more than double the $100 price tag she dismissed as obnoxious. Yes, it's the $256 Signature Scent Collection. But all of this is desperate, isn't it?
People online immediately noticed it. A burned-out match sitting on a box of new ones became an unexpected talking point. Some compared the situation to buying accessories for a product that wasn't fully working in the first place. Before long, social media users were filling comment sections with jokes and observations of their own. The reactions quickly split into 2 groups. Some people genuinely wondered whether the entire thing was meant to be humorous, while others focused on the reports about candles allegedly arriving without wicks. Several commenters joked that if the candles couldn't be lit, perhaps the matches should come with something extra too.
I received a Meghan Markle wickless candle, and so I have to ask, what am I supposed to light? What am I going to light because I have no wick? Okay, kind of like Prince Harry these days, the wick is missing. I have no wick, I'm wickless, and she's witless.
The jokes practically wrote themselves. For many observers, the whole situation felt surreal. Here was someone who had once been at the center of global headlines, with major media projects, high-profile partnerships, and worldwide attention. Yet now, much of the conversation online was focused on a box of matches and candles that had become the subject of customer complaints and internet jokes. Now, to be fair, no brand should be judged solely on a single reported issue.
You are not going to believe what happened when I opened the box, when I got back. There's no wick again!
One faulty product doesn't automatically define an entire business. However, the discussion didn't stop with one report. A second well-known reviewer also claimed he received a candle without a wick. That said, there is an important detail.
No way to light this thing!
Did you like it?
Seriously, look! It comes out just like that, and literally no wick.
How can this happen when we only made 100 candles?
His candle reportedly came through a third-party seller, who maintained that the product had a wick when it originally left their hands. Because of that uncertainty, it's only fair to treat that particular claim with caution and avoid drawing firm conclusions from it alone. But the issue people kept returning to wasn't the missing wick claims. It was something else entirely. The tunneling. That's the deep ring of wax that burns straight down the center of a candle, leaving thick walls of unused wax around the sides of the jar.
Plus, a limited edition matchbox you can only get by buying the bundle. £190 in the UK, $256 in the US. The candles are tunneling, so the wax burns down the center of the candle instead of across the whole surface, which is what happens when you use cheap paraffin instead of soy or beeswax. One critic on the record in the British press put it plainly: that's because she's using very cheap and toxic paraffin wax. Cheap and toxic.
Anyone familiar with candle making will tell you there are usually a couple of reasons for it. The wick may be too small for the container, or the wax formula may not be performing as intended. Put simply, critics often associate this kind of burn pattern with lower quality candles rather than premium luxury products. It's the sort of thing customers don't expect when they're paying top dollar prices for a carefully branded lifestyle item. Some people online even went further, speculating about the quality of the wax itself. However, that's where it's important to separate opinion from fact.
The wax has been described publicly as cheap and toxic. The candles are also tunneling, which means the wax burns straight down the middle like a sad little whale or Harry's soul, instead of melting evenly across the top. So anyone who has ever bought a $15 candle from Target knows that's the sign of a bad pour.
Since the brand has not publicly released a detailed ingredient list, those claims remain speculation and can't be independently verified. Still, the overall mood online became hard to ignore. Nicknames started appearing across social media, with some critics referring to Meghan as the Temu Duchess. Others began calling the entire launch Scam Jam. To be clear, these were internet jokes and criticisms aimed at the marketing and customer experience, not legal findings or factual conclusions.
Imagine Meghan Markle. She comes running downstairs in the Montecito mansion in her jean booty shorts, and she goes, Harry, I've got a brilliant idea how we're gonna get rich. I'm going to sell matches. I am going to sell matchsticks. And then she runs off through the house, and Harry sits there and he goes, I must be really bloody high. Well, did my wife just tell me she's selling matchsticks?
They simply reflected how some disappointed observers were expressing their frustrations online. Then there was another detail that caught people's attention. According to the brand's policy, purchases are generally non-returnable. That meant customers worried about product issues felt they had limited options if something arrived in less than perfect condition.
So then Prince Harry, he goes over to the phone. Prince Harry, he picks up the phone. Bling, bling, bling. William, I've made a terrible mistake, my brother. She is selling matches. I'm coming home.
Critics argued that spending around £190 on a premium bundle naturally raises expectations, especially when reports about product quality are already circulating online. And now, right in the middle of all that discussion, the brand introduced the matches. For many observers, it felt like an unusual addition given the ongoing conversation surrounding the candles themselves. But to really understand why the matches became such a talking point, you have to go back to the very beginning of the brand's journey.
Meghan over the weekend was promoting her new jams. Apparently everyone in her family likes a different jam. Are you ready to hear about it?
Everyone in my family has a different favorite. My husband loves the raspberry, Lila loves the strawberry. Arch loves both, and I like the mango.
Aww, Arch loves both. I thought I had a story to tell you, but then I kind of changed my mind because I realized he likes them both. Anyway, apparently she's lying about this and everything else because it's all just to sell products. And again, she's in her fake kitchen as she's selling this stuff. She must have taped this a while back when she was taping her Netflix show, which is no longer there.
The challenges didn't suddenly appear this week. According to critics, questions and setbacks have followed the project since its earliest days. Originally, the venture wasn't even called As Ever. It launched under the name American Riviera Orchard, a title that generated attention, but also faced trademark complications.
I don't want this to just be me. I want this to be a community much greater than that. So beyond bringing on writers or other people who want to share great content and who understand the voice of the site, which is like talking to a girlfriend and conversational and inspiring, I've always sort of crafted it like aspirational girl next door. Like, you can aspire for it, but you could totally attain it too.
Reports indicated that the U.S. Trademark Office raised concerns because the name was closely tied to a geographic location. There were also reports of objections connected to similarities with existing brand names in the marketplace. As a result, the original branding effort hit an obstacle before it could fully take off. The company eventually moved in a different direction.
Now, what I find so ridiculous about this woman was British royalty. Okay, British royalty, and now she is selling little pieces of wood that you use to light candles. Think about it. She is selling little tiny pieces of wood and trying to turn a buck, trying to make a quick profit. I mean, the Kardashians wouldn't even sell matches.
Out went American Riviera Orchard, and in came As Ever, a shorter and simpler name that avoided many of the earlier trademark concerns. Then came the first major product rollout, jam. More specifically, strawberry jam packaged in limited jars and reportedly sent to around 50 carefully selected influencers, celebrities, and high-profile contacts. The goal was clear: create buzz, generate attention, and get people talking about the brand from day one.
She clearly has no one advising her career. All of her publicists, all of her communications people, they've probably flown the coop. And she's left, look at these videos. She's left here filming sultry jam advertisements. I've never seen someone try harder to make jam and marmalade look sexy and have sex appeal, okay? But she has the sex appeal of a lint roller, of a bar of soap.
The plan seemed pretty straightforward. Send the jam to a carefully selected group of celebrities and influencers, watch glossy photos flood social media, and create the kind of buzz that would have everyone scrambling to buy a jar. At least, that appeared to be the expectation. But according to many online observers, the reality looked very different. Instead of a wave of promotional posts, there was surprisingly little reaction at all. In fact, many people noticed that a large number of those gifted jars never seemed to appear online.
Privilege that comes with being a member of the monarchy, but as a result, they give up their life in return for public good. So Harry knows nothing about money. And Meghan has put him, Brittany, on this sort of emotional roller coaster, which is like, one moment she's saying, no, it hasn't worked. The commercial stuff hasn't worked, so don't worry, you go back to the charity stuff. And then that hasn't worked, and so now she's putting the pressure on again. I mean, he doesn't understand money, Brittany. He has never understood money. She should have known that.
There were few photos, few endorsements, and very little public excitement from some of the high-profile recipients. It's almost funny to imagine those jars quietly disappearing into celebrity kitchens, pushed behind bottles of sauce and forgotten snacks, never to be seen again. For critics, that launch became an early warning sign. The rollout that was supposed to generate headlines appeared to fade away almost as quickly as it arrived.
I was shocked, Dan. Like, when I first initially saw this post on X about it, I was like, no, there's just no way, because there's so much misinformation out there about Harry and Meghan in some ways. But then I was actually putting the numbers in, and you're getting stock counts. And I'm like, you should never, ever see that on a website. And in case, unless they have like one or two left, they will let you know that. But to have potentially 37,000 fruit spreads sitting out there is astronomically bad.
Around that time, some social media users started using the nickname Scam Jam. Again, that label reflected online criticism and commentary rather than any factual finding, but it quickly gained traction among skeptical observers. The bigger criticism wasn't really about the jam itself. It was about the strategy behind it. Many critics felt the brand seemed heavily dependent on Meghan's celebrity status, rather than offering products that could stand entirely on their own.
Royals don't really worry about money in a day-to-day manner in the same way that we do.
The assumption, according to those critics, appeared to be that a famous name and a network of celebrity connections would generate enough excitement to drive sales. And that's why some people see a connection between the jam, the candles, and now the matches. Critics argue that the same underlying approach keeps showing up. The belief that branding alone can transform ordinary household products into luxury must-haves. Whether it's jam, candles, or even a box of matches, the debate remains the same. You almost have to admire the confidence behind it all. Almost.
So actually what this means is that these products, and by the way, this candle, $64 from the Was Never website, $77.94 because we ordered it from eBay, is a dud. It's a cheap mess that you cannot light.
Because by the time people were discussing reports of wickless candles and branded matchboxes, many online commentators felt they had already seen this story play out before. To them, it wasn't a completely new controversy. It was simply the latest chapter in an ongoing conversation surrounding the brand. Now here's where things get especially interesting.
She needs to put herself out there. She's not even charging. And not because it's beneath her, it's because nobody wanted her. Nobody wanted to pay her. She's not worth anything for anybody. In fact, she is a liability because there's a lot of backlash.
To understand why some critics have focused so heavily on the current pricing, you have to go back nearly a decade. In 2016, Meghan appeared at a conference in Atlanta while promoting her lifestyle blog. During that appearance, she reportedly said, "There are no $100 candles on my site. That's so obnoxious." At the time, the image she presented was very different. The focus was on products that felt accessible and attainable. The message centered around stylish but realistic purchases, things ordinary consumers could actually imagine buying for themselves.
We're also sick of your desperate bids to make money, including this latest email pleading for everyone to continue to buy Was Never products thanks to a 20% discount. This is not a life of service, Meghan. This is not changing the world. You're never gonna fly in this industry, so maybe it is about time that you wake up.
That approach resonated because it stood apart from the exclusive, ultra-expensive products often associated with celebrity brands. Which brings us back to that word, obnoxious. Many critics have pointed out the contrast between those past comments and today's product prices. The signature scent candle collection currently sells for $256, more than double the price point she once publicly criticized. For some observers, that shift represents one of the most surprising parts of the entire story. The affordable lifestyle image that once defined the brand has, in their view, evolved into something far more exclusive. And now we get to the detail that really caught people's attention.
The official launch image for a $256 luxury candle bundle shows a burnt, used match sitting directly on top of a flammable cardboard matchbox. Yeah, not a fresh match, a used one, sitting on a box full of matches. In the promotional photograph, they chose to lead with for a luxury premium product. Yeah, the comments on the IB Times UK piece have been running all weekend. The line that has stuck is this: the composition resembles a pothead's coffee table. Wow.
One of the candles in the collection is called Number 519, a reference to May 19th, the day Meghan married Harry. According to the brand's marketing, the candle is meant to capture the feeling of that special morning, with descriptions centered around sunshine, blue skies, happiness, and celebration. The idea is simple. Bring a piece of that wedding day atmosphere into your home for $64. But critics quickly pointed out a detail that makes the story a little more complicated. Over the years, various reports about the royal wedding preparations painted a somewhat different picture behind the scenes.
I have no sympathy. Yes, she should give up. She should give up because she sold the world a pup. None of us buy in to what she is selling. And also, she's just really goddamn terrible at it.
One story that received plenty of attention claimed Meghan was unhappy with the scent inside the historic chapel where the ceremony took place. According to those reports, concerns were allegedly raised about the atmosphere inside the centuries-old building, with discussions about adding additional fragrance before guests arrived. The report suggested that some staff members viewed the idea as unnecessary, given the significance and history of the venue.
So Meghan Markle, she is selling basic matchboxes for approximately $222. You do get some of these candles though, so they come in a big candle set behind the candelabra, okay? She's marketing them as a limited edition item, and these are her candles that are inspired by her children. You know, she's using her kids' royal titles to sell these candles.
Whether every detail of those accounts is accurate or not, the story has remained part of royal watcher discussions for years. To add another layer to the conversation, luxury fragrance company Diptyque later indicated that scented products were used as part of the wedding preparations. So while the exact details remain debated, the story itself never completely disappeared from public discussion. That's why some critics find the marketing around number 519 especially ironic.
And we know that what Meghan's doing is not out of love, it's not out of some type of desire to create a community, it is out of financial need. As Harry, Meghan's spare put it, when you have to roll out a full promotional campaign for your newest product, and that product is a box of matches, you've officially reached the bottom of the barrel. Not perfume, not skincare, not fashion, matches.
The candle is promoted as a celebration of the wedding day's atmosphere and scent, while old reports about the venue's fragrance concerns continue to circulate online. For those observers, it's a contrast they simply can't ignore. But the candle controversy is only one piece of a much larger discussion. This is where critics argue that the real issue isn't any single product, Instead, they see a recurring pattern involving ambitious launches, major publicity campaigns, and questions about whether customer demand truly matches the marketing. Take Netflix, for example.
Are you serious?
Is that the thing?
There's no wick. I've had 2 people tell me that there was no wick when they ordered a candle.
There's literally no wick.
Are you kidding?
I have an empty wick list. How do I light it? I literally just noticed that. I just pulled it out. There is a hole in my Meghan Markle candle.
After signing a widely publicized deal with Harry and Meghan in 2020, reports later suggested the company's involvement extended into supporting aspects of various business projects connected to the brand. Over time, however, industry reports indicated changes in that relationship. By last summer, the original partnership structure had reportedly shifted to a first-look arrangement, which many industry observers viewed as a less extensive commitment than before. Then came reports earlier this year that Netflix was no longer involved with the consumer products side of the business.
But here it is, the new scented candle, which we have also on her website, $5.19, because, you know, it's the day they got married, May 19th. Our signature scent, modern and elegant, love at first light. I see what she did there. Number $5.19 is the feeling of warm sunshine and blue skies, surrounded by love and laughter. This signature candle is inspired by the ease and joy of a day that holds Meghan's most cherished memories, her wedding day. May 19th, bright and refreshing, with quietly grounding notes of Moroccan mint, white tea leaves, and a back note of woodsy cardamom. Number 519 fills the room with a soothing, welcoming fragrance that remains our founder's tried and true favorite, housed in a beautiful ceramic vessel. A vessel.
Whether that decision was purely strategic or reflected broader business considerations has never been fully explained publicly, but it certainly fueled more speculation online. And then there were the reports that generated even more questions. Some articles and online discussions claimed that unsold inventory, including teas and baking mixes, was being distributed internally after sales failed to meet expectations. There were also discussions about a website issue that allegedly revealed inventory information that wasn't intended to be public.
She's selling this candle on the website. She's peddling a massive lie at the center of her latest as-ever launch, unveiling a $64 scented candle inspired by her wedding to Prince Harry. Even though she always complained, apparently reports say, she complained about the St. George Chapels smelling musty ahead of the ceremony. Apparently, she wanted to spray air freshener all around venue before the guests arrived. So is this a candle that just reminds her of the scent of that air freshener or of the actual musty St. George Chapel?
Those reports have been widely circulated, though many details remain unverified. That's why some critics remain skeptical whenever they hear products are selling out almost instantly. They point to those earlier reports and argue that limited inventory, marketing strategy, and actual consumer demand aren't always easy for outsiders to separate. Whether those sellout claims reflect overwhelming demand or simply limited stock remains one of the biggest points of debate surrounding the brand today. Here's a question that many critics keep asking. If these products are supposedly selling out almost immediately, why add complimentary matches to candle bundles in the first place? Some observers genuinely don't understand the strategy. If demand is overwhelming and inventory can't stay on the shelves, promotions and extras usually aren't necessary. That's why the Matchbox launch raised eyebrows.
Meghan handed Harry an ultimatum about money while the brand she's running is selling turnaling candles at $256 a bundle, and the household is reportedly burning through $3 to $6 million a year. So basically, the Montecito bank accounts are tunneling as well. So the way Shutter's source frames it, Meghan is the engine. She has always been the engine for deceit and, grift and all that stuff. And Harry is the obstacle. And for context, Harry reportedly sits on roughly $20 million from Diana's estate and a bequest from Queen Elizabeth, locked in a trust with a restriction around education and old age. I think that Meghan needs some.
Critics argue that offering freebies alongside premium-priced products can send mixed signals. On one hand, customers are told items are selling out rapidly. On the other hand, new incentives are being added to encourage purchases. For skeptical observers, those two messages don't always seem to fit together. Of course, there could be perfectly reasonable business explanations behind the decision, but online commentators have been quick to speculate. Some see it as a standard marketing tactic, while others view it as an attempt to generate fresh interest around products that have already faced criticism. Either way, the conversation has only grown louder, and when people look back at everything that's happened so far, they point to a growing list of issues. The reports about candles allegedly arriving without wicks, the complaints about tunneling, the promotional image featuring a used match resting on a matchbox, and the premium pricing that continues to spark debate. Critics argue that none of those controversies were created by outside rivals or hostile commentators. In their view, they all stemmed from decisions made by the brand itself. That's what many observers find most surprising. This isn't a small startup operating on a shoestring budget. Meghan has access to professional advisors, branding experts, media experience, and resources that most entrepreneurs could only dream of. Because of that, critics often say they expect a higher level of execution from a luxury lifestyle brand. Which brings us to one of Meghan's own comments.
Netflix tied a lot of the money that they gave Harry and Meghan into the As Ever stock. Netflix said, okay, we're going to give you the money that's part of this lump deal, but a good chunk of it is going to go into developing your inventory. Well, Netflix did that. Now Meghan's stuck with the inventory that can't move, which means all their money that they were supposed to give for Netflix, or at least a good chunk of it, is tied up in her terrible products. And she is not good at marketing. She is not good at figuring out what actual consumers want. And so she's constantly stuck in this endless loop of failure, and she has no one to blame here but herself. At this point, I mean, As Ever, it looks like it's pretty much dead already.
During a recent interview with Harper's Bazaar, she reportedly said, "The moment that you start making all of your personal decisions based on external judgment, then you lose your authenticity." It's a quote that attracted attention for obvious reasons. Some critics immediately pointed to what they see as a contradiction. They argue that lifestyle brands are, by their very nature, built around public perception. From carefully designed kitchens and product photography to branding choices and personal storytelling, the entire business model depends on attracting attention and creating a positive impression. In that sense, public judgment plays a major role in determining success. That's why the quote became another talking point online. Critics questioned how a business centered on image, presentation, and consumer approval fits alongside a message about not being influenced by outside opinions. Whether that's a fair criticism or not, it's a debate that continues to surface whenever the brand makes headlines. And the discussion didn't stop there. The same interview also fueled conversation about reports that Meghan is sometimes introduced by her royal title at certain events. Supporters see nothing unusual about using an official title, while critics argue it clashes with the broader message of authenticity and independence that has often been promoted publicly. That's what makes this entire story so fascinating to royal watchers and critics alike. Every new product launch seems to spark a bigger conversation, not just about candles or matches, but about branding, image, celebrity influence, and the gap some observers believe exists between public messaging and public perception. In another interview, this time with Bloomberg, Meghan spoke about her experience as a working royal and explained that wearing nude tights had felt, in her words, inauthentic. That comment quickly caught attention online. Out of all the traditions and expectations that came with royal life, many critics found it amusing that hosiery became one of the examples used in a discussion about authenticity.
So then Prince Harry, he goes over to the phone. Prince Harry, he picks up the phone. "William, I've made a terrible mistake, my brother. I'm coming home." And then William has to inform him that they've given his room away to Camilla to put her clothes and her tiaras and her heels in there. So then Prince Harry, he packs everything in a bag. Prince Harry throws everything in a bag, and then he goes down the driveway of the Montecito mansion to get in a taxi cab, and he looks back dramatically like they do in the movies. And then he gets in the car and he flies back to London Heathrow. And then when he lands in London, he remembers he left two important things at the mansion, Archie and Lilibet. The end.
Since then, critics have continued comparing those past comments with the image being presented today. Large media deals, luxury lifestyle products, and premium-priced collections have all become part of the conversation. Some observers have also pointed to products inspired by important personal milestones and family memories, arguing that the brand increasingly blends personal storytelling with commercial products. That's where the debate over authenticity really kicks in. Supporters see someone building a business around meaningful experiences and personal branding. Critics see something very different. They argue there's a growing gap between messages about authenticity and the reality of selling high-priced lifestyle products to the public. And then there are the candles themselves. Critics have repeatedly questioned how a luxury candle collection can justify its premium pricing while facing reports of quality concerns. Whether those complaints represent isolated incidents or a broader issue remains heavily debated, but the conversation certainly hasn't gone away. The matches were supposed to be the finishing touch, the final luxury detail that completed the collection. At least, that's how the launch was presented. But instead of ending the discussion, the matchboxes ended up creating even more questions about the candles they were meant to accompany. In many ways, that's what makes this entire story so unusual. The matches don't solve the concerns people have raised. Instead, they draw even more attention to them. Critics argue that adding accessories only encourages customers to look more closely at the product at the center of the controversy. Think about the timeline that's been discussed throughout this story. A wedding-inspired candle connected to a day that has long been surrounded by competing narratives and behind-the-scenes reports. A premium candle collection priced at around £190. Ongoing online debates about product quality. Then, right in the middle of all that, the introduction of branded matches designed to complement the collection. It's easy to see why the internet had plenty to say about it. For critics, the issue isn't really the matches. It's the perception that style, presentation, and marketing are sometimes receiving more attention than the product itself. Beautiful photography, elegant branding, carefully crafted storytelling, all of it creates a polished image. But many customers ultimately care most about one thing, whether the product delivers on its promises. Now it's your turn. What do you think about the entire situation? Would you spend around £190 on this candle collection, matches included? Or do the reports and controversies raise too many questions for you? Let me know down in the comments because I'm genuinely curious to hear where you stand on this one. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and allows more people to join the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to Crown Clash as well, because we've got plenty more royal stories, controversies, and headline-making developments coming your way very soon.